responded to that call. And he said that if I was to be called to it even after becoming a prophet, I would still respond to that call. I would always come to that table. If it's going to protect one element of the vulnerable, I will come to that table. Even if it's believers, not believers, whoever it is, even as the Prophet of Allah, I will come to that table for that specific cause. But you know what? There's another element. So the Prophet ﷺ there responded to the tension and participated in a productive way in making sure that that healthy conflict led to a healthy resolution. We're not going to brush our problems under the rug again. We're going to come up with healthy solutions to this healthy conflict. Because if we don't, then the problems will only perpetuate. So we've got to do something about it. The Prophet ﷺ moved forward. In another situation, the situation of the placing of the black stone at Hajar al-Aswad, in the place of the Kaaba, where it was in the Kaaba. I want you to understand all the dimensions of this, because it's profound. You have a bunch of tribes and they're hesitant as to who will put the black stone in the corner of the Kaaba, which at that time is occupied by idols, inside out, hundreds of idols. And one element of that idolatry is the self-worship that those tribes had, that, well, which one of us is going to be the one that's going to put the stone forward? It's silly. It represents something lower about that society, that's even a thing. That I can't even trust the other tribe to pick up the stone and put it in the corner of the Kaaba, because that's going to somehow give them leverage over my tribe. So they made the decision that whoever walks through the door next, that's the person that's going to do it. The Prophet ﷺ walked in. They said, Al-Amin, Radina. The trustworthy one has come. Radina. We are satisfied. When they said, the Prophet ﷺ, the trustworthy one has come, what were they implicitly admitting about each other? That they knew that none of them could trust one another. That none of them felt safe with one another. That they knew that every one of them had the agenda of superiority of tribes. So actually some of the ulama of seerah say that's the first time the Prophet ﷺ was called Al-Amin. The first time they actually used that nickname of the trustworthy. Al-Amin, Radina. We're all pleased with him because we know he has no agenda. His agenda is the goodness of our community, the goodness of our society. That's a beautiful testimony of those people to the Prophet ﷺ. The irony is that one day the Prophet ﷺ will and break stones. One day he will take down all their idols. But what is the moment called to? The Prophet ﷺ wants to address a specific ill. They say, Al-Amin Radina. What's the solution of the Prophet ﷺ? He takes his own cloak, puts it on the ground, says, put the stone on the ground, and let a representative of each tribe carry that cloak, and then place the stone together. The hikmah, the wisdom of the Prophet ﷺ in that moment. Now usually when you come to a peace agreement or a peace treaty, no side is really satisfied. Because internally, some people were hoping that the Prophet ﷺ was closer to them and that maybe he would say, well, this group of tribes, this tribe has been here longer, they do more khidmah to the people, more service to the people that come. But they knew the Prophet ﷺ had the best interests of the community at heart. Now the Prophet ﷺ could have taken that moment to say, what's wrong with you people? In the first place, fighting over who's going to put the stone. But he recognized the moment, that at that moment, the best thing to do was islah, was to bring people together, was to show people that it was possible to compromise amongst their tribes.